Sheikh GUMI should show us a single hadith of the Holy Prophet where he negotiated with terrorists. Akiwa Good speaks. Akiwa Good speaks. President of the Supreme Council for Islamic Preachers in the Southwest, Sheikh Tawfiq, in this interview tells Tunde Ayanda and Shengu Adebayo the challenges of Islamic preachings, how the government can fight terrorism, and why he preaches peaceful coexistence among all regions. Your name, Akegod, how did you come about it? The name of my forefather, the name was from my forefather, which means someone perfect in Islamic knowledge to the point that he was given slaves to serve him. The first Salafi in Oyo Atiba gave him the nickname Akegberu. There was a day when my great-grandfather, who was the first Imam of Oyo, went to their laughing. He was jealous of the king's leaning towards the traditionalists who used to give him predictions. He told the king that the Holy Quran could also tell you certain things. Then he was asked to come, and the king asked him the message the Quran had for him. My great-grandfather had told him he was to release all slaves in captivity, telling him the message was from the Almighty Allah. Halafi Atiba released slaves to my great-grandfather, and on that same day he named him Akugberu. During the reign of Alafi Adeyemi, the last Alafi of Oyo, I am also from Oyo, but most of my businesses are here in Ibadan. Right from my childhood, I've been living in Ibadan. About 20 years ago, I was celebrating my 30 years of preaching. Alafi Adeyemi was here, and on that day he was so impressed that he removed his gold ring and wristwatch and gave them to me in public. He mentioned the significance of his action as he repeated what his grandfather gave my great-grandfather, and right there he called me Akugbagood, the son of the Akugbaru. From that day, it became my official name. They asked, do you still have the ring and wristwatch? He replied, I still have them. They're real gold. I don't wear them as I see them as my most prized possession, judging by the story behind how I got them and the personality that gave them to me. They asked, how did you become a preacher? He replied, I was born into an Islamic cleric house, a family of imamship in Oyo. There is Islamic knowledge that every member of my family does. You do not have to be a cleric or preacher, but any member of my family must have core Islamic knowledge. We are trained like that right from our childhood. When I was growing up, I started having an interest in the preachings of the Sheikh Adam Abdullahi Alori, the first proprietor of Markets Agigi. I love his preachings. He always did a lot of research before he came on air. Again, I also traveled to Ilori to watch Kamaruddin's lecture, the first mufti of Ilori. I later followed Sheikh Akilapa in Ibadan here, and also Baba Muddin Bello, and many more. From there, I derived an interest in becoming an Islamic preacher, and so far it is one of the ultimate things my father wanted me to be. He gave me all the necessary support. He would sit me down and tell me a lot of stories from the Quran, stories of great Islamic leaders in Yoruba land, and many others. And it was from there that the interest developed. Until today, I have no regret in doing what I am doing. They ask, your nature of preaching encourages coexistence between Christians and Muslims. Has this in any way pitched you against your fellow Muslim brothers? They asked. He replied, truly, when I started about 15 years ago, I met a lot of challenges, especially from the Muslims brothers. They believed Muslims and Christians and idolaters were supposed to be enemies. This was a big problem then, but my mom was from a Christian family in Ogbomoso. As a child, I usually went to her family to spend my holidays. We would go to their churches together during Christmas. And when I was in primary school, I was a choir master even though I am from an Imam family. I knew a lot about Christianity. I was one of the best students in Bible knowledge in my primary and secondary school. When I became a renowned cleric, I can see it's just three differences that exist between Christianity and Islam. Aside from this, it is the same religion. Islam claims the same prophet as it is in the Bible, from A to Z, except for Prophet Muhammad, who Christians don't accept that his name was mentioned in the Holy Bible, but we Muslims believe his name was mentioned in the Holy Bible. And the only exception of the three-in-one, which the later day the Christian brought in, the Lord of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which Islam counters. Also, when we're talking about molarity, Islam and Christianity preach the same thing. I traveled wide and I know a lot of things that a lot of Islamic clerics around us do not know. I mentioned it in one of my preachings about my experience in Riyadh. I was coming from Riyadh and going to London. An Arab was sitting beside me and he dressed in the normal Arabian way. He wore his jalabia, the red scarf, and the coil which they usually use to hold it, and he looked very handsome. I said Salam alaikum to him, and he replied. We started talking about religion, and to my almost surprise, he told me he was a Christian. I was surprised because I did not know there are Christians in Saudi Arabia. He told me they're a minority, but they have every right and authority to practice Christianity, but that it must not be pronounced in public. He said he was schooled in America and he is a Christian. I've also met some Indians who wear the turban, but in our conversation, I will let her know that they are not Muslims, but Hindus who are worshipping a cow. I always mention this to my people. I cannot say because I'm a Muslim, I will cause a war here and travel to Saudi Arabia and tell them that the Quran says we are one. Nigeria is our land and we should learn to live in peace. We should respect all other religions. The Quran also says we shouldn't abuse those who are worshipping other gods. God has the power to make the whole world practice one religion, so why are we fighting ourselves? What is the essence of the day of resurrection if we're here fighting ourselves? Why can't you let Allah judge? Humanity comes before religion. My chief advisor is a Christian and I trust him more than my fellow Muslim brothers because he has been with me for a long time and has never betrayed my trust. All I need is professionalism. We hear of bandits using Islam to kidnap and murder people. What comes to your mind when you hear this? They asked, he replied, as a reasonable Muslim, there is no way one will not feel bad when you hear this. Islam is something I know very well. I read a lot about Islam and I trained a lot in Islam. How can someone come and tell me that murder is a part of Islam? Beheading someone who abused the Quran is also not part of Islam. Where in the Holy Quran has Almighty Allah told anyone to murder for insulting the Quran? What we can do is to take the person to court, or if there are any other means of making the person realize his mistake without killing him, without having to murder him, that would have been best. Even when the Holy Prophet was alive, some people called him a madman because he never murdered them because of that. Again, look at the issue of Boko Haram. It is not Islamic. You can never see Arab or Islamic war talking in favor of Boko Haram. It is political and not Islamic. I actually like his view. You understand? I like the view, the way he comes out and says, if you really know the Quran, for those who are doing this Boko Haram stuff or whatever stuff, or if you buy person, they'll give you 5 virgins, if all those things, but them BM, it's not true. This is a brainwash. A big brainwash, and I hope so when they go realize, go do too late. Alright, on this note, we have come to the end of the news. So thank you for tuning in to listen until I come your way next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.